This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is a Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
We got a great Fast Break Podcast for you today. We're talking about the second best team in the Western Conference.
The Nuggets?
Possibly.
I mean, on the standings.
Possibly.
Standings are number two.
But also, they're not the team that we are placing at number one right now. We don't want to be asking another topic, as Ladyboy Lover said about our Cam Reddish topic that we did last week. Of course, Cam's being overshadowed. He's the third best player on Duke. Well, then is he being overshadowed if he's properly ranked? That's the question. But we are going to be talking about the team behind the Golden State Warriors, who we think is the best, because although they're not number one in the standings, we do think they are the best team
right
in the heart and in the league when you look at it from a sensible reason. So we will be talking about who is two behind them, because obviously the Houston Rockets aren't even in the playoff picture right now. And then from that, we're going to go into the NBA draft, the 2019 NBA draft. We're going to be talking about the best point guard prospects after Darius Garland will be out for the remainder of the season. He had foot surgery, so he's going to be done. So that landscape has changed, as Dave put it. And then we're going to wrap it up with 2019 prospect talk for the Phoenix Suns. Currently, they are worse than the Cleveland Cavaliers and all other 28 teams in the NBA. So we'll be talking about them first, and if they do have the number one pick, where they will go, where they should go, what prospects, what positions should they be looking at, which prospects are best fits for them, and we'll be doing all of that. Those are our three main topics, and of course, we will be including Wet Boys, where we talk about guys who absolutely went off in the past week and give them some love. But before we jump into that, one final thing. If you are listening to us on iTunes, if you're listening to us on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening through Blog Talk Radio or Stitcher, please head over to iTunes, look up the Fast Break Podcast, and give us a 5-star rating. Helping us out in that way is free. It's super easy. It's super quick, and it does truly help us get more views and more ears onto this podcast. So we'd greatly appreciate it if you took that time out and gave us that love. But guys, let's jump into the second most dangerous team in the Western Conference. Right now, the Golden State Warriors do sit in fourth place, like I mentioned. They are 15-8, but we all agree, have a consensus agreement, like most NBA viewers, that they are the best team in the Western Conference and in the NBA. But obviously, with the scuffle that Draymond Green and Kevin Durant had, that kind of sidetracked them a bit. And obviously, their most valuable player in Steph Curry has been out with an injury, so that's really hurt their record so far. But when they are full strength, they are the best team in the NBA. So let's ask the question. Who is the second best team in the Western Conference behind the Golden State Warriors? Ricky, I'll go to you first.
I'm sitting between one of two teams, and they are 1 and 2 in the Western Conference. But the team I've got to go with is the one that you were hyping up before the season, Sean. Denver has just impressed me beyond what I thought they would be. And I was kind of talking to Dave when we were out to dinner yesterday after 2-0 the game, where it's like, this team kind of pisses me off in a way.
Nice plug, by the way.
Because it's just, I mean, I'll be honest. When you were like, they're going to be a top 3 team, I didn't want them to be. I don't want this team to dethrone the Warriors, but it's like, I look at them and you look at what they're getting from everyone. Like, they're a team that is right now, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players deep, scoring in double digits. They've got 4 players scoring at least 16 points a game. And if this team can stay healthy, it's going to be important going forward. And I know that Will Barton has only played 2 games, so I mean that 16.5 is like, oh,
and they'll be getting back
2.
soon. Yeah.
But when they get him back, it's like, okay, everything I just said now gets a little bit better. And this team has been kind of avoiding the injury bug a little bit and rolling and beating good teams in the process, because the thing that I want to just say about the Nuggets and the Clippers, yeah, they both beat the Warriors, but the Nuggets did it with all 4 of the main cast minus DeMarcus Cousins. All 4 of the main cast on the floor, where the Clippers did it when Steph was injured.
So obviously, I'll be kind of hyping up the Nuggets a little bit more, but you do throw out the Clippers there, and I don't think Dave's answer is going to be the Clippers. Correct me if I'm wrong. So why are you throwing the Clippers out there? Because I think right now most people are shocked that the Clippers are number 1 in the Western Conference. This is a team with no star at all. I mean, Tobias Harris has been playing fantastic. Gallinari has been pretty good for them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Montrezl Harrell has been good for them, but there's no bona fide star. There's not an all-star on this team. Why are you saying the Clippers have a shot to be the second best team in the Western Conference?
2 reasons. Number one is they've gotten guys on the team to contribute that I didn't expect to contribute in this way. Like Montrezl Harrell, didn't expect him to have the season that he's having. Did not expect Tobias Harris to kind of be leading this team, kind of taking the mantle and kind of, I say if they don't have him, they're not in this situation.
Certainly.
The thing of question, though, that I have for them and why I went with the Nuggets is you look at like Lou Will and Harold haven't started a game this year. They've been doing all of their damage, the 17, 16 points off of the bench. Then, I mean, I look at their schedule. Yeah, they beat the Bucks. Yeah, they beat the Warriors. But like I said, Warriors without Steph Curry. Both of those games were at home. The thing that they haven't done that the Nuggets have done is I look at their losses. Denver, going to be a playoff team. The Pelicans, going to be a playoff team. Oklahoma City will look to be a playoff team. The Sixers are a playoff team. Portland right now would be a playoff team. And then at Washington, all of those losses, every loss except for Denver, has been on the road. And in the playoffs, I mean, unless they're going to be the number 1 seed, which I don't think they're going to be, the Warriors will get healthy, they'll get DeMarcus Cousins and be the number 1 seed. Unless you're going to be number 1, you're going to have to win on the road. And if you can't do that, you're not going to beat the Warriors in a 7-game series.
Dave, who do you think the second best team in the Western Conference is?
Gonna get called crazy for this, but right now it's OKC. Like, this is a team.
I thought you were going Memphis. So OKC is much better.
Memphis is like
You've been riding that Memphis train all year.
Ricky mentioned 2 teams. But Memphis is like my low-key number 2 team. I ain't going to go there right now because I'm being realistic. Oklahoma City Thunder is a team that underperformed last year, and we were all extremely disappointed with, you know, their attempt at a big 3 didn't work out. Like, obviously the Carmelo Anthony problems were there. But this year, they are doing something special, and they've had injuries on this team as well, and they are just starting to hit their groove. Defensively, they're one of the best teams in the league right now. They lead the league in defensive rating, actually. Offensively, we're getting Schroeder having some great performances, being able to fill in that role as the lead point guard when Russ was out, and now that Russ is there, they have like great two-way play between both of them. Steven Adams really excelling this year, and I think Paul George kind of has been publicly and privately talking to him about like having to take more of a role on this team, and it's it's a noticeable difference out of him. So I think that they are having all of the right pieces contribute, and then the depth they added with Nerlens Noel, Hamidou Diallo, a guy who we're like, he doesn't know how to play basketball, but he's an athlete. Like, he can go out there and ball. It's bizarre, but like they're getting results out of those secondary players, and obviously like it's just weird because Abrines is making it rain out there from the outside. He had a great game last night.
Yeah, 7 threes.
7 threes.
All 21 points all of threes.
And he just Jordan shrugged it off. Like, I was like, oh, that close to home. But no, this is a team where they're getting it done defensively, and that is exactly what you want to see.
Here's the only thing that worries me about the Thunder.
Yeah.
And it's just how their schedule is right now. I look at their losses. In the first 4 to start, the Thunder were still gelling, but also
Russ wasn't there.
Yeah, Russ wasn't there, but Golden State was healthy to start the year. Sacramento was rolling to start the year. Boston was not struggling like they were right now into those 4 games, and the Clippers played pretty well. The other loss that they have, Dallas on the road, another Kings loss on the road, and then the Nuggets, who are the second best team. Every other team, I'm looking like, yeah, they beat the Warriors and Golden State, but I'm going to put that asterisk next to it because the Warriors, and I know people are going to get like pissed off, like, oh, it doesn't matter that Steph wasn't there. It kind of matters that Steph wasn't there because this team is completely different when you're going to have those 4 guys, Draymond, Durant, Curry, and Thompson, and you take any of those away because they're not a deep team in general.
Only beat the team in front of you, you know?
But then I like look at like they're playing the Suns and the Knicks, and the Rockets haven't been that good, and the Cavaliers. So I wonder if right now it's the strength of schedule hasn't been the hardest for the Thunder. And yes, it's good. They're taking care of business now. But what's going to happen later in the year as these better teams, some of them might get injured, but I'm looking more at the Warriors. They get healthy, and then the Thunder have to go up against
Oklahoma City is still not healthy. You still haven't seen Roberson out there playing yet, and he is the best defender on the team and arguably a top 5 in the league. So you have the best defensive team in the league right now, and you're going to get a top 5 defender back. And then you're getting back Terrence Ferguson, who we started to see a little bit of flash of why he was taken as highly as he was a couple of years ago. And again, the depth on this team is, you're starting to see that, which was not existent last year.
And you haven't even mentioned Jeremy Grant as well.
Oh my God, yeah.
A guy
he's taking a huge step.
Yeah, and if you want to read Zach Lowe's article that he just put out, he talks a lot about Jeremy Grant's progression. But they started using him as a big, as a 5 last year, and using his length, his athleticism was damaging. And everyone's always like, well, if he has that shot, if he adds that next dimension to himself, and he has this year, shooting 3 threes a game, and he's shooting 35% from 3. So that's even another piece, that can start for you, that can come off the bench, that can add that other element. And I think the one answer outside of Denver that I would feel comfortable with is OKC. I'm not really looking at the schedule so far too much with all these teams, because you're going to be playing bad teams, you're going to be playing good teams, you're going to be playing hot teams, you're going to be playing cold teams. It's what can you do on a consistent basis, and what they can do on a consistent basis is defend. And we talked about this coming into this season. Now losing Carmelo, you're going to have Roberson coming back. This is going to be the best defensive team in the NBA, and it's not even going to be close. I mean, this team is absolutely shut down, locked down. They could do it at every single position. Their worst defender might be Russ, and he's not a bad defender at all. So I think what they're able to do on the defensive side is going to be tough. And you look at that 1-5 matchup, offensively, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with Golden State. Obviously, it's going to rely heavily on Russ and Paul George on what they can do on a night-in, night-out basis, because they're their 1-2 guys, at least offensively. But their 1-5 matchup for Golden State is going to be tough, because you have Paul George who can go up against KD. You have Jeremy Grant who can go up against KD as well. You can have Jeremy Grant go up against Draymond Green, go with that length and that speed to keep up with Draymond Green, even if they go small. And if they're using Boogie, you have Steven Adams, who's one of the best defenders, at least at that 5 position.
Yeah, the needs to wear a cup out there, that's all.
And then you can throw out Roberson either on Steph or Klay Thompson, and then flip Russ on the other one. And again, Russ isn't going to get burned too often. Obviously, if he's going up against Steph might be able to put it to him back and forth, but Russ is a guy that can trade it with him, and can go on the offensive end and just go back right at Russ. So this is a team that maybe they aren't as good and star-studded as the Golden State Warriors, and they might not have that offensive consistency because they're not playing in a system really. They're more relying on those stars, where Golden State's relying on the system with great stars and great talent. We haven't seen Golden State's full potential with Boogie out there.
Right.
But I look at OKC, and they do something consistently great, and that is play defense. And that's something where you look at Los Angeles, the Clippers right now, I think they're extremely hot. But again, they don't have that star they can rely on offensively.
They're so deep.
Yeah, but so far their system's been really well. I mean, they've been working everybody you're playing every guy's strength so far. I think to cleaning the glass, they're top 10 offense right now in points per possession. But again, I look at what OKC is able to do on a consistent night. They're able to take that defense on the road, at home, and they're able to win games. And I really like them as the third best team. But I look at Denver, and Denver not only has that ability to take what they do best on the road and away, because they are one of the teams with above 500 record away. It's not a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing to say, because you look at the home records right now of the teams in the Eastern Western Conference. Toronto has above 500 record. Indiana has an above 500 record at 7-5. Then you have to go to Los Angeles Clippers. They have a 6-5 record. Denver has a 6-4 record. OKC has a 5-4 record. Memphis has a 6-5 record. And then you go to Utah. They have a 9-6 record. Those are all the teams with an above 500 record away. So they're able to take that home and away, their offensive abilities. And Denver, although I don't think they're going to be able to keep this up as much as they are right now, because currently they're the third best I think team defensively, which is crazy to think coming into this. I thought they were going to be really good defensively this year.
We're
I thought
expecting
they were going to
the 80s Nuggets where we're getting the 130, 145 games.
But right now they're third in points per possession allowing, and the difference between offense and defense, they're third behind Milwaukee and Toronto. So they have one of the better offenses when that's fully clicking. They're currently top 10 and they're top 3 in defense. I think that they have that ability to work in a system offensively, but they also can rely on stars. I know Jokic isn't a guy that's consistently putting up 20 a night. He'll have games where he only has 17, but he's a guy that's leading this team in assists. His usage is crazy high. He's top in assist percentage, and he's a big man. And you're playing in that system. You're playing with guys like Gary Harris. You're going to be adding Isaiah Thomas. You're going to be adding back Will Barton. You're getting phenomenal additions from Juan Hernan Gomez, Plumlee off the bench. I look at what they're able to do in a night in, night out basis. And although the star power might be on OKC, you look at what Denver's able to do offensively, and they don't have to be star reliant to be great. They can play within that system to take that on the road and away. And then also defensively, we have seen that massive improvement where, again, OKC's playing on talent and they have fantastic defenders, but you look at what they're able to do. They don't have any great defenders, but they all have really good defenders that stick to their position. They force turnovers, and they're able to turn it the other way, and then, again, play in that system in the full court and half court. And I absolutely love what I'm seeing from Denver.
And the thing I like about Denver more so than I like about the Thunder is that I feel like in a 7-game series against the Warriors, I feel like I would put more confidence in the Nuggets than the Thunder to compete with the Warriors at the 3-point line. I feel like the Nuggets have the better cast of characters to try to go toe-to-toe with the Warriors with made threes and saying, hey, you can shoot the 3-ball? Well, we can shoot the 3-ball as well, and we can make them too.
But what would you say, again, outside of the offensive side of it, why what else about Denver makes you want to say that?
The big thing is I was looking at the, not even just percentages from 3, but just the how many made threes that they make per game. And it's like, on average, you've got Gary Harris and Jamal Murray. They're making about 1.8, 1.5. You've even got Will Barton before he missed out in the 2 games that he was, almost making 3 a game. Even Jokic can make at least 1 3 a game. And it's like, with the Thunder, you got Paul George at 3. You got Dennis Schroeder shooting a nice percentage, 1.5. But then it's like, Russ isn't really a bona fide 3-point shooter. Yes, he can do it. Kind of like, I'm going to compare him on that, and this might be a slap in the face, but I don't mean it that way, that Jokic level of, all right, Jokic is making 1 a game, Russ is averaging 1 made 3 a game, but his 3-point percentage is a 21.7, which is not good in this
they
NBA.
They have 1 3-point shooter on the team, but that's not their game plan. Like, their offense is not predicated on
and
the
that
3-point
is
game.
But that's a big part with the Warriors. However, the one thing with the Nuggets that I question, and this could be the only question that I have with a 7-game series against the Warriors, Kevin Durant. He's the only, talk about defensively, I look at their roster and I go, who's going to defend Kevin Durant?
And here's the thing that I will say about Denver is, even though I said that they were going to be a top 3 team in the Western Conference, that was because we thought Houston was going to be so good. And we'll get to Houston, I think, too, because I don't think we could fully write off any team outside of probably Phoenix this year in the Western Conference.
They're the only team in the Western Conference not in it.
They're a hamstring away. The Rockets. The Rockets are a hamstring away from either being in or out.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, we'll talk about them later. But we're talking about Denver right now. I mean, even though I said they were going to be a top 3 team, I also had them losing in the first round because they were going up against LeBron. They were going up against that star power. I don't think you're going to be able to match up with star power, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing in the playoffs that does kill them. Because right now, I don't think they have that guy that can go into a playoff series and drop 30 a night. And I
was going to ask you, you're getting contributions across the board from 5, 6 different guys on any given night, which is impressive, but when you need that guy to take over a game.
And maybe it's Jamal Murray, but again, I don't think he's at that point in his career yet. Maybe it's Gary Harris, but again, I don't think he's at that point yet. And Jokic has shown it from flashes every now and then. Yeah. But again, he's not a guy that is going to take 20 shots a night. He's not a guy that's overly aggressive on the offensive end, and his usage percentage should be much higher for the star that he is, but he's usually passing the ball off. He's not. They're not
right. He's a centerpiece to
ending.
The offensive system, but he's not the guy pulling the trigger on the shots.
The possessions aren't ending with him on his team, and I think that's the biggest thing for the Nuggets is that if they go up against the Golden State Warriors, it's that star power that's going to kill them because, again, they don't need to play in that system. The system's fantastic for that team because you can throw KD and ISO. You could throw you can have the 15 passes in one possession for the Golden State Warriors.
They can pick and roll off screens. They can go high-low action. They literally have everything in the world open to them.
But even then, you can just have KD walk up and fire up a 35-foot shot.
Things aren't working tonight. Let's just hand the ball to KD on offense.
So, and I think that's the other thing. But the thing you kept bringing up, Ricky, that I do want to kind of dispel is the fact that the three-point shooting of Golden State. And it's not really that Golden State's firing up a ton of threes. It's just that they're so efficient at doing so. Right now, they're 20th in 3-point attempts per game, which is crazy to say. but they're also, I think, like third in 3-point made per game. They're 10th in 3-point made per game and leading the league in 3-point percentage at 38.5. So, I mean, the biggest thing is that they're just so dangerous to make 11, and they don't need to base that off their game. And it's even crazier now because we used to, consistently think of, Steph firing up, 11 threes a game, where now they don't need that to be their offense. They can really, attack. Even when Boogie comes back, that's even going to be upped even more. And he's such a great passing big that you're going to get even more wide open threes out there. And that's where it's going to be, really dependent on teams to be great systemically, defensively to really stop them. And that's why I think if it's Denver versus Golden State, or Denver versus Golden State, or Oklahoma City versus Golden State, I might lead OKC because you do have those great defenders with great length.
And you can switch on anybody with Oklahoma City's roster.
But if we're not going up against Golden State, and we're just talking about strictly the regular season, I think the ability to play within systems, both offensively and defensively, for Denver is going to be the biggest thing, and that's why I think they're the second best team in the Western Conference. But are there any other teams? Because obviously we threw out the Clippers, we threw out the Thunder, we threw out the Nuggets. We throw out the top 3 teams right now in the standings, but I think it's deeper than those teams because, again, you're saying they're a hamstring away. The Rockets are from jumping back into the playoffs, and this is a team that's made changes already to their roster. They've added, guys back to their coaching staff, their defensive coordinator. So do you think that there is a team out there that is a dark horse that can make a run in the second, third, and fourth quarter of the NBA season to get to that second spot in the Western Conference?
I don't want to give the Timberwolves credit yet, but we have seen a change in attitude and we have seen some quick results. And it's a large change from going from a player who doesn't want to be there and who's actively trying to hurt the locker room to bringing in guys like Robert Covington and Dario Saric, who are great teammates all the time and who are effort players. Like, they are going to give you 100% of everything they got every night. And watching this team, I think, Sean, you said before the show, they're 7-2 since the trade going down. And defensively, they went from one of the worst to one of the best in the league during that span. I think it is a good step in the right direction, but I'm not ready to say that they're like a lock for the playoffs and they're a lock for, maybe an interesting matchup in the first or second round, because we're not seeing anything out of Andrew Wiggins yet. And that's still the big thing. Like, I'm seeing Robert Covington be consistent, which is scary because that's always the danger with him. Is he is the as hot he can be incredibly hot, he can go incredibly cold just as quick, and it's when you need him to be there. Is he going to be there? You don't know. You couldn't count on him last year, especially during the playoffs. So seeing him come out and drop 24 and 21 in back-to-back games, like, oh shit, if he becomes like a staple in an offense instead of a role player in an offense, like maybe we could see a new level to his game. But we still haven't seen Wiggins, and I think in order to succeed, you need all 3 of those guys firing, and we'll get there maybe during this year, or maybe he just won't find his stride on this team, and they've got a situation to figure out with that contract. But they're a team who I'm not ready yet, but I think you got to watch out for them going forward.
Well, and the one thing too, in cleaning the glass, you sort from the day of the Jimmy Butler trade to now, and you see the change in Minnesota. They're second in offensive and defensive differential. They're second in the league. Point per possession offensively. They're 16th, scoring 109.6 points per possession. But defensively, 99.6 they're allowing. So we're kind of seeing that Tibbs magic come back a little bit defensively. Guys are closing out a little bit better. Karl-Anthony Towns isn't getting abused every single night, every single possession. He's not a great defender in any sense of the word. But
so you love the tongue-in-cheek interview with Robert Covington asking him, like, how's it feel to get bailed out by Robert Covington all night? Like,
and even then, like, he doesn't need to be a massively great defender, because the biggest thing about Cat is what he does offensively.
Correct.
And again, look at what he's been doing since that
his touches
November 12th
since the trade.
Yeah, even he's shooting 15 shots a game, 53.6% from the field, 4 threes a game too, 38.9%. He's averaging 3.8, nearly 4 offensive boards per game, 14 boards, 2.7 assists, and that's 21.6 points per game. So, I mean, the ability to keep possessions alive as well has been huge for Minnesota. I don't know if it's going to be sustainable, but I think that will help them maybe level out to closer to the 6th seed than, maybe like the 12th seed in the Western Conference. I think we're getting more consistent play from everybody instead of the not knowing if Jimmy Butler's going to be in the lineup or not, and then who's going to need to make a step up. You're going to know who's going to be playing every single day who's going to be giving their all because one guy's not going to be wanting out, and I think that's been absolutely huge for them so far.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing I'm waiting for is that roster to settle into its rotations because I still haven't seen consistency in playing time given to Josh Okogie, a guy who has deserved it, who is a two-way player who, young, yes, but like Tibbs has to just admit that he's very good and get him out there more because he is an effective player
Tibbs
out there.
don't like rookies.
He doesn't like young kids.
He don't like those
Who knew?
rooks.
But no, like their second unit now gets bolstered up by adding Dario to that unit, and then you can get Okogie and D Rose out there, so you continue that offense and you still get the effort on defense. I think they're an interesting team, but I'm not ready to put them in there yet. I just not ready to pull a string on that.
I don't think anyone's going to hate you for that.
No.
Because, I mean, again, Minnesota.
I'm not trying, yeah.
Once we said that trade happened, we didn't think they were going to be anything. We didn't think they were going to be making the playoffs. We thought it was a done year. And so far, they've just been massively impressive and shocking the world.
I got two that I want to mention.
Throw 'em out.
The first one is Portland, only because this team to me, completely different of what I've said about Denver. They are Dame, CJ, a little bit of Nurkic. And, like, that's all you're going to get from the, like, three main scorers. And this year for Portland, it's like, I like them. Like, I liked watching them play the Nuggets last night. However, they're going to be a team where it's like, oh, wow, they're going to win this game. But it's going to be like 108 to 105, where it's going to be like...
You're down to that last second.
Down to the last second. Or it's going to be, hey, we played the Warriors and the Bucks, and we got blown out like 140-something to 108. And it's going to be a huge game. The other one that's my more serious one, and this isn't a compete with the Warriors, it's to compete with those T-Wolves for maybe the 8th seed, the Mavericks. Ever since the calendar flipped to November, this team went from 2-6, and they were now, if my math is correct, 8-4 in the month of November. Like, this is a team that has flipped it in 1 month, and maybe they're a team that makes a run for an 8th seed this year.
Guys, we're talking about the second best team in the West. We're not talking about the 8th seeds
I just want to give some love to Dallas.
I tried to give it to him last time. I thought that, if they did add Bradley Beal, that team could be a legit playoff contender. But obviously it's going to be very tough for them to do so with their pick being in Atlanta and not really having the cap space to move that. Obviously Wes Matthews would be a part of that, but there's not really a trade out there that could send Bradley Beal to Dallas, my bad. And their bench has been fantastic as well, and they're going to get Dirk back at some point. Luka's been really good so far. Had a bad night against the Lakers, but that's a team I do kind of want to bring up because let's get away to teams that probably aren't going to be making the playoffs to teams that are probably in the playoff picture.
But where behind the Warriors are they? Is the question?
What do you mean?
No, it's like you said, teams that are in the playoffs that are
behind the Warriors. And I think the Lakers are a team that, they haven't been massively consistent, but they do have LeBron James. Are they in that radar of second best team in the West? Do you have faith that this team can be the second best team in the Western Conference, especially having the best player in the NBA and LeBron James on this team?
I want to lean towards no, and only because part of me feels like they got to, if they want to make that happen this year, I feel like they got to make a move. Like, I saw an article on ESPN today where it was like, can Brandon Ingram and LeBron James kind of coexist? And the question is, and I don't know the answer for sure, can they? And I'm kind of leaning towards no. I'm kind of leaning towards if this team wants to be successful, maybe you got to move BI for something to get LeBron some help because you're not going to move LeBron.
What do you think?
I think that giving up Brandon Ingram would probably be a mistake. You got LeBron for 4 years. Use the 4 years. You don't. There's no one saying that this is the year you have to, go for a championship. And I'm pretty sure that's what LeBron was saying when he signed the contract was, I want to be here, I want to build something, and I want to win. It just the expectation shouldn't be this year. That's all I'm saying. I don't think you move a piece like Bi yet. Like he is an incredible defender, and he's got an interesting skill set because of his body size and shape. So give it some time.
Well, and I know it's fun to trash on Lonzo too, and he hasn't been great or consistent this year, but he has shown flashes of really good signs. I mean, obviously, he had that thing against Denver where he just absolutely crosses over Jokic and hits that three. His passing ability has still been on display this year, and he's still a good defender. So I think that there is hope for their young players. I don't know if you're going to get that consistency, though, that you guys are saying, that they could be that dangerous. And I think it's pretty much the same situation that has been
They're still relying
LeBron
so much
Cleveland.
on LeBron to close out games. And that's the thing that I'm worried about is when he's playing 38, 39 minutes a game every night during the regular season, that's gonna lead to a toll on his body. And we know that he's been the guy who's taken care of his body the most as an aging superstar than anyone we've ever seen before. But still, you have to just understand that this team is not there yet, and that's why I can't put them in looking for that number 2 seed behind the Warriors.
And just to run quick through the rest of them, and
Sure.
it's not really, do you think they're going to be the second best team? But where would you, if you had to put a label on them, are they playoff contenders? Are they for sure playoff, in the playoffs in your mind? Are they dangerous? Are they dark horses? Are they just not going to making the playoffs at all? Team we didn't mention, Dave, I'll go to you for this one. Memphis. What is Memphis's label? Are they legit?
They're just dope. They're out there killing it. Like Mike Conley, again, being Mike Conley is fantastic. His shooting percentages, like we talked earlier, are starting to rise back up to the normal, which is wonderful. Marc Gasol, he's just classic Gasol out there, like dropping like 15, 5, and 5, no problems. And Triple J last night killed it, dropped 36. I think he had 7 straight go to take it to overtime because of stupid penalty or stupid foul on a 3-point shot. No, they're a very good team, but they're not going to have the scoring to keep up with a team like Golden State. Defensively, yes, that's their whole game plan is if we keep it close defensively, we'll be fine. They're not going to have the firepower when the time comes.
Yeah, they have the worst points per game in the Western Conference right now at 104.9, just behind the Utah Jazz at 105.9. Ricky, I'll go to you with the Jazz then. What's the label on the Jazz right now at 11-12?
This is a team that I don't think is going to make the play. I'm going to say I don't think they'll make the playoffs, and I only say that because I have a feeling that a team like the T-Wolves, the Mavericks, or the Pelicans right now, or even the Rockets, teams that are like out or barely in the playoffs right now, are going to do enough to squeak ahead of them.
I mean,
like
it's literally
Utah,
1 game right now. So.
I know, but it's like Utah to me has been kind of like an enigma this year. Thought they would be better record-wise than they are right now.
You crying Don Mitch's ass. I mean, come on. He's just an inefficient chucker out there right now.
I mean, maybe he's fallen a little bit into...
being sarcastic.
Maybe he's fallen into the JT role of things, kind of regressing this year. But, I mean, no. Seriously, though...
Kyle Korver shouldn't move the needle at all?
It does. And I want to see what he does with the team kind of in a larger sample.
Yep.
But I would put more of my money on the Pelicans and the Rockets to make the playoffs right now than the Jazz.
See, you look at the Jazz, and again, we mentioned them as having a good road record at 9-6, but you look at their actual splits, and I don't even know how they're 9-6. On the road right now, they average 105.3 points per game, and they're allowing 105.5 points per game. So they have a negative differential, although they have 3 wins there. And then you look at home, they've been much better offensively at home, scoring 107 to 105.3 points per game, but they've been allowing 113 at home. So, I mean, you look at them, I think that it might even out a little bit, but if it evens out, I think that might, you might see a dip in their road record, a bump in their home record, and that just might put them at, 42-42, and I don't know if that's really going to be a playoff team in the Western Conference. Other team that I want to throw out there that we haven't talked about would be the New Orleans Pelicans that you mentioned, Ricky. 2-10 away, 9-2 on home. It's good to see that they're defending their home court right now. And obviously Anthony Davis has not been healthy. The Julius Randle, Nikola Mirotic, AD trio to start was fantastic. Drew was good as well, but they haven't been really consistent. This is a team that I do think is going to be in the playoffs. I do think this team is going to be able to bounce back. We'll talk about AD in a little bit, and obviously he's going to have to do a lot of carrying, but I do think this team has a lot of talent. When they are fully healthy, when they are at full strength, I do think that they are a playoff team and will be able to get more consistency this year and be able to make a playoff push. Dave, to Houston, what are your label on Houston right now?
I think they are legit. I think they've figured it out. They just need to be healthy, and that's the thing is like if you have Chris Paul, Clint Capella, and James Harden, you're going to win games. If you miss one of them, you're not going to win anymore. Like that's it really brings every game to a struggle. Like Eric Gordon being thrust into that starting lineup is rough on them because their bench scoring then becomes non-existent. Like they have no consistency off the bench when it comes to scoring. And that's kind of funny because it's Carmelo's role. We all joked about that, but. No, they're still a move away. Like they need to do something, and I trust Daryl Morey to do that because he's never a man to sit on his hands when things can be done. So I expect them to make a roster change in the next couple months and put them in position. But as long as there's no long-term injuries to this team, they're a playoff team. They're a lock, and they're dangerous in the playoffs if they're healthy. And
it's very similar to last year. I mean, obviously they did much better when Chris Paul was out, and it's really when those big three are on the floor.
Yeah.
Harden, Capella, and
Harden's
Chris
usage
Paul.
right now is just insane.
But when those three are on the floor, they are a dangerous team.
Yeah.
And they have been showing that so far this year. I do think they are a playoff team, but I don't know if they're top 4. And I don't think they are going to be the second most dangerous team.
They can get healthy games together, they could be, but that's a big ask right now.
Final last 3 teams, not going to ask you to give them a label, but is anyone thinking that the Spurs, Suns, or Kings will make the playoffs, or are they just bottom feeders right now? Or are they just guys that finish outside of the playoffs?
I want to say the Spurs, but it's weird looking at Tankathon seeing them at number 9.
No, I don't think the Spurs have a shot at the playoffs this year.
I mean, they're not shooting threes. They're efficient when they shoot
Pop
them.
don't like the three.
But they're making 9 a game. Like, I mean, you need to be making more than that. And DeMar DeRozan has had fantastic games, but again, you can't be living in that mid-range bullshit like consistently. That's why Toronto was like, all right, we need you to shoot more threes. You did it. You looked really great last year, and you were finished 8th in MVP, and then you just regressed back to what you were. And again, that's a really great player, but it's not a franchise changer like a Kawhi Leonard is, and that's why you end up getting moved. So I just look at that, and I really don't trust San Antonio right now. I think the Kings is a fun story.
They go for the tank, and they go for it's the
go for the Dookie.
Go for a Dookie. Like, they're gonna be bad. I don't know if they're gonna be Eastern Conference bottom feeder bad, but they'll be bad enough that they'll have a good shot.
Yeah.
The Kangs though, you started, and I'm jumping in on it.
Playoffs?
Look,
then if it's not playoffs, then we gotta end this topic. That's what I was asking you. They're fun, but
they're in the running for the playoffs. I'll say it because
they're below the Spurs right now.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
they're even.
A little.
They're dead even. But like, you gotta remember, like the 14th team or 12th team.
Spurs are technically a half game behind.
Yeah. So there you go. They're all in it, and they got back Bogdanovic, which is the biggest deal because he was their best player last year, and he's been reintegrated to this team. Couple games so far. His last couple have been, he had a 10-2-2 and then a 23-3, then a 26-4-6. Like, he is going to continue to improve and add to this team where De'Aaron Fox was awesome. We're starting to see Bagley now start play. He was forced into playing time, which was hilarious that the owner had to say something publicly to get him minutes, but not going to touch that topic today. But no, I think they're legit in the running for a playoff spot in the West. And we talked about them having a horrible month, and that's exactly what's happening. Like, they lost 3 in a row.
And they're only a half game out of the playoffs.
They're going to keep losing games, but there's going to be some future. There's going to be some time, and they've got great young talent. And I think that they're going to be like one of those teams where it's like, you're going to be looking like with 15 games to go, and you're like, holy shit, the Kings are still in this shit.
The only question I got to ask is, are you only saying this because you want that Celtic pick to be lower?
I'm just saying, if the Celtics pick is, like 15 or something, I ain't going to feel bad.
They didn't have that 5-game win streak the Kings did, but obviously, like you mentioned, November.
They've got a really rough schedule.
Was a tough run. Well, no, November was a tough run. Well, I'm just saying, November, they took a big dip.
Yep.
2 losses to Milwaukee, Toronto, then they beat Minnesota, lost to the Lakers, beat San Antonio, then back-to-back losses to Memphis and Houston, beat Oklahoma City and Utah, then lost to Golden State, Utah, LA Clippers, and they're currently on a 3-game slide playing Indiana tonight. So we'll see
exactly what
ends
said
up
when
with.
Sean wasn't here.
I know, that's what I was saying. We did their preview basically, and we're like, so this is how this season's going to look for you. Let's reality check.
I think that they're going to be a fun team to watch, but I don't think they're a playoff team. Final answer on second most dangerous team. Lock it in.
Nuggets.
I'm sticking with OKC. Defense travels.
It depends on what we mean. If we're saying regular season, I will go with the team on my hat, Denver Nuggets.
Yep.
But if we're talking about playoffs and trying to beat the Warriors, I think OKC is up there. I think the Lakers are up there just for the sole fact that they have LeBron James. And we have seen what LeBron has done to them before.
He can will victories.
As getting 1 victory in the past 9 games in the playoffs. But that's more than most people can say. And then I think that you probably have to watch out for Utah if they ever get their shit figured out offensively. But I don't know if that's actually going to be able to be happening because Ricky Rubio has looked like shit.
Well,
Don Mitch has looked like shit.
Is it the loss of Coach Igor?
Simple.
Coach Igor leaves and the offense struggles a little bit.
It's possible.
I think they put a lot of faith in Donovan Mitchell out the gates, and he struggled. Like he's not taking the most efficient shots. He's not taking the best looks. He's just shooting right now. So I think once now with the addition to Korver, I think they're going to have some nice offense added to that system. He's always running, which means somebody else can get good looks off picks. Like, I think they're going to be fine.
And we will revisit this topic a little bit later and see who was right, who was wrong, and where the standings lead us a little bit near the halfway mark. But let us know who you think the second most dangerous team in the Western Conference is down below or on Twitter @MostValuablePod.